If you haven't been keeping up with my channel, I've been doing just this week, I've been doing the mid-season awards. So I've done MVP, which I gave to Russell Wilson. I had Coach of the Year, Bill Belichick, and Defensive Player of the Year went to Myles Garrett. And so now for Defensive Rookie of the Year, my three candidates were I had Darnell Savage Jr. from the Packers, also Josh Allen from the Jaguars, and then of course my pick, Nick Bosa. And it was actually kind of a tough decision between Bosa and Josh Allen. It wasn't as lopsided as you might think. While Nick Bosa has been getting a lot of the credit just because, his team is undefeated and the Jaguars are 4-5, their numbers are actually pretty shockingly similar. Both guys currently have 7 sacks. Nick Bosa has 1 forced fumble and 1 interception, whereas Josh Allen has no interceptions but 2 forced fumbles. And then Bosa has 17 solo tackles compared to Josh Allen's 18 solo tackles. Allen has a few more assisted tackles, but as a whole, when you just look at the stats, they're shockingly similar. Really, you can't really argue one way or the other. Although one thing worth mentioning, Josh Allen has played one more game than Bosa has. Bosa's done this in 8 games, whereas Allen has done this in 9 games. Although also worth mentioning, in Josh Allen's 9th game, he didn't have any sacks and he only had 2 solo tackles. So either way, through 8 games, they've both been very similar. However, I do have to just give the slight edge to Nick Bosa. They've both been great. If you're a Josh Allen fan, don't worry. Plenty of time left where Josh Allen could overtake him and win the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. But I just think Bosa has just done such a great job this season. He's been playing at such a high level, and so that's why I am making him my first half of 2019 Defensive Rookie of the Year. One of my worries going in when it came to Bosa was the fact that, he's such a fast guy and such a strong guy that he's so used to just dominating opposing tackles that maybe when he gets to the NFL and the opposing tackles are going to be just that much more better, he might have to have some growing pains just because it did go so easy for him in high school and college. But that seemingly has not been the case. Like on this play, he's going up one-on-one against the left tackle right here, and take a look at what's going to happen right when this ball is snapped. Bosa's going to try to get around him, so notice how he runs to the bottom half of the screen, and really notice how quickly he gets in that direction. If you notice where the tackle is right now, he can't really get over and try to make this block. You would really at this point have to sidestep another step. Bosa has pretty much gotten an entire step on him just at that point. If you notice, the tackle really wants to get his left arm all the way onto the right shoulder pad of Bosa, but notice how far he would have to go. He'd almost have to lunge out to do that, and of course that would be a bad idea because then you can't get your feet planted. Just that one step is all it took. Bosa's then able to completely get around him and get to Case Keenum and then celebrate because that was the game-winning sack. So that's kind of what he can do. Not only was he able to dominate guys in college, but now he's able to just dominate guys in the NFL. It kind of looks like he's still an NFL level talent going up against college level offensive linemen sometimes. He really is that talented. And I also feel like, he's been playing pretty well in terms of football IQ as well. That's something that doesn't get talked about too much with an edge rusher, but it absolutely is a factor, and this plays a perfect example of that. Once again, he's going up one-on-one against the left tackle, and notice how right when this ball is snapped, so Bosa's getting ready to create some contact, the tackle's getting ready to create some contact, but really what I want you to take a look at is what's going on right there with Kyle Allen. Notice how he already is staying pretty far away from the line of scrimmage, and he's actually going to take a couple more steps further away from the line of scrimmage, which isn't really what you want to do because it can make things easier for an edge rusher. You want to stay inside that pocket because for Bosa, who's trying to get around the edge, the further you stay back, the easier it will be for Bosa to try to get around. And if you notice, Bosa actually sees this. Watch what Bosa's going to do. He's going to fully go to the top half of the screen and just go straight to Allen and get that sack. He read the play correctly and was able to get over to Allen and get that sack that way. It was a mistake from Allen to stay too far back, but at the same time, Bosa did a great job of recognizing that and not really worrying too much about going too far to the top half of the screen, getting pushed too far out of the way because he saw that the quarterback was already going in that direction. So he didn't really have to worry about Allen stepping up in the pocket on that one because he read what was going on and was able to get a sack out of it. That might seem like a relatively minor thing, and in a sense it was a pretty minor thing, but at the same time it's just a quick read, and sometimes those small reads can turn into big plays, and no better example of that is what's going to happen right here, where this is going to be a screen pass. So those two receivers go out the block, and then you send your halfback up to the top half of the screen, hit your halfback, and hopefully gain some yards. That's the way this play is supposed to work. But for Bosa, he's right over there going up against the left tackle. Typically in a situation like this, he's not going to have too much to do. But first things first, watch how Bosa gets that edge so quickly. So now he's in the pathway of a potential throw. I mean, that's just speed at its finest right there. That's not something that, it almost looks like he knew that there was a screen pass coming, which there's a chance there was. There's a chance he saw something before the line, or someone saw something before the snap happened and was able to let him know, hey, this looks like a screen pass, so be prepared. But either way, he is now in great position to try to make this play. But again, he just had an offensive lineman create contact with him. He's not in a great position to try to leap up and make this play, but that doesn't matter because of how much of a freak athlete he is. Look at how he's able to leap up, make the grab, and then he's going to run, and he nearly gets into the end zone for a touchdown on this play. So just a tremendous, high IQ football play, and also just a great physical play. He's a freak of nature, and then when he's also playing smart, I mean, forget about it. That's just how he can be such a huge, impactful player. Like this one, another very smart play, where this is actually going to be a fake by Washington here. What they're going to do is they're going to fake as though it could be a run to the left side of the screen, but it's actually not going to be that. Instead, what they're going to do is they're going to pitch it to their receiver right over there. And so there's several things that you're going to also do on this play, but one thing you're going to do is you're going to actually leave Bosa unblocked. While there is a tight end who's lined up with Bosa, he's going to kind of go around Bosa and block the 49er who's currently lined up just right behind Bosa. But for Bosa, now he has an interesting situation where he kind of is in between a rock and a hard place a little bit. He doesn't know exactly what he has to do. He doesn't know where this ball is coming, but he does know one thing. They left him unblocked, so they're planning to do something here. I think a lot of guys would just run straight to Keenum or run straight to the halfback, but he's kind of hanging out, and he's kind of just waiting a second to wait and just see what's going to happen. Largely because he just trusts his players behind him that if it is going to be just a pitch back to the halfback, that the halfback can then get tackled by who he has behind him. And also if it's going to be a run by Case Keenum, well then that's just a great situation. So he's not really too concerned about either of those things happening. And so he probably figures, okay, something else is probably up here, so I'm just going to stay where I'm at. So when Keenum does pitch it forward, Bosa is right there. He stops the play in its tracks, and there's just no chance of a gain on that one. That's just insane patience more than anything, of just being calm in a situation and saying, okay, so I don't know what's going on? Well, fine, then I'll just sit here and wait until I figure out what is going on. Obviously, there's also situations where it's better to do something than nothing, but in a situation like that, the only something he saw was run over and try to tackle Keenum, but that would have actually been a bad thing. So he just knew that if Keenum or the halfback were going to keep the ball, he didn't have to worry about it, and so he made sure that if there was something he had to worry about, then he was going to be able to make a play. And one last play that I just think is a tremendous play from Bosa is this one, where first things first, they're actually going to give Bosa a little bit of extra attention. So while yes, of course, the left guard and left tackle will just be blocking the two defensive linemen straight up, also what's going to happen is that Bosa is going to get chipped right here. Meaning Christian McCaffrey will just block him a little bit before he continues to go on and run his route. So that's how that's going to work. But what's interesting about this is that this is not just a straight up play. What they're actually going to do is they're going to have a twist here, which means that basically what you see on the screen happens. Bosa runs in between the center and the left guard, whereas DeForest Buckner will then run around like that. The purpose of that is because, as you see right when this ball is snapped, if you notice, both the tackle and Christian McCaffrey are making sure that they're blocking Bosa right here. So now this can allow Buckner to get through around to the other side and potentially create some contact. The problem is it sometimes takes a little bit longer for that to happen, but it usually almost guarantees the fact that you will have a great situation for somebody to get to the quarterback, but it just might take a little bit longer. But also watch what happens with Bosa here. Watch how he's going to sort of leap up as though it could be a passing play, because it could be a passing, this could be a pass right here. It's about when Kyle Allen would want to make the throw right before the contact comes. So he's just thinking, I'll leap up, be aware of a potential throw so Allen can't make this throw. And meanwhile, Buckner is in the area where he's going to create some contact and hopefully he will be able to make the tackle. But what's interesting here is even though Buckner isn't quite able to make the tackle, Bosa is then able to get back down and run over, and he actually gets the sack out of this. So Bosa just did everything right on that play. He ended up having contact with 3 different Panthers on that play. He ended up having 3 different Panthers block him on that play. He leaped up to try to knock a pass away and still got a sack. I mean, he did it all on that play. He had to do a lot, but it helped him in the stat sheets. He was able to get a sack on that one. And that's kind of what he can do, He's a great team player for one, and just a great player for two. I mean, he plays smart, he plays hard, and he plays well. And that's really what makes him such a unique talent. And I do think that This guy will probably win Defensive Rookie of the Year, especially because of all the media attention that he and the 49ers have been getting. But I think that this guy, that is just the start. I think the sky is the limit for Bosa. This guy could be a 20-sack season guy. I mean, he could end up being a Defensive Player of the Year award guy. It definitely isn't the cards for him. The sky is the limit. It really is. That's why I thought that the Cardinals should have drafted him first overall, even though I like Kyler Murray a lot, because I just think that he's one of those once-in-a-generation type talents. He was a can't-miss prospect. It was a great decision by the San Francisco 49ers to draft him, and it really is paying off. So yeah, that's who I think should win Defensive Rookie of the Year for just the first half of the season. That's just my opinion, but again, Josh Allen is right there with him. It should be a dogfight the rest of the way to see who will end up actually winning the award. But as of right now, I have the slight edge to Nick Bosa. But that's just my opinion. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching.